Hey guys, now we'll be doing question 2.3. Consider the geometric series 3 plus m over 2 plus m over 9 plus 2 infinity. So when we read this question, we see that they are talking about a geometric series. On the last lesson, we're talking about arithmetic sequence, arithmetic series. So in this lesson, we are dealing with a geometric series. So even for geometric series, there are certain formulas that you have to consider. This word series here, it means all these terms are actually added together. Geometric series is when all the terms of the sequence are added together. So the formulas that you have to consider whenever you are dealing with a geometric sequence or a geometric series, these are: number one, Tn is equals to ar to the power n minus 1. Tn represents the nth term. Sometimes they will say a general formula. Sometimes Tn represents the last term. So what we are actually saying by this formula, we are saying what is the value of the term at position n. What is the value of the term at position n? That's what Tn is speaking about. A is our first term, r is our constant ratio, n number of terms in a way, or a position of a term. So the second formula that you have to consider is this one. This one is the formula for a sum. A sum, remember, a sum when all the terms are added together. We use this formula to find the sum of the sequence or the sum of the series. So when r is less than 1, r is your constant ratio. So Sn represents your sum. Then this one is the same as this one, but the difference, this one we use when r is less than 1, but for this one we use when r is greater than 1. But do note that your r should not be equals to 0, because should not be equals to 1. If your r is equals to 1, it will make this whole equation undefined because your denominator will be equals to 0. We know with any number divided by 0, it gives us an undefined. Then number 4, we have this equation for sum to infinity. Even this equation is an infinite equation because we do not have the last term. So if we had the last term, they would say plus any number here. This would represent the last term, but in this case, we don't have the last term. So this is an infinite equation, infinite sequence. So we use this formula if we want to find the sum to infinity. So when r is between -1 and 1, meaning our r is a proper fraction. What is a proper fraction? A proper fraction is a fraction where the denominator is greater than the numerator. Okay. Number 5. Some questions will say for what values of r or for what values of m is a certain thing convergent. Our series is convergent if our r is a proper fraction, sorry. If our r is a proper fraction, meaning is between -1 and 1. How do we find our r? This is how we find our r. We divide the second term by the first term, the third term by the second term. We use this to prove whether our series is geometric or arithmetic. So we know that if we divide the second term by the first term and the third term by the second term, if we get the same values for both, we know that our series is geometric. Okay, now getting back to this one. So before we do anything, we need to write down our data. So our A is 3. Our ratio T2 divided by T1 T2 divided by T1, we get m divided by 3. Okay, so question 2.3.1, for which values of m will the series converge? As specified, the series converges if r is between -1 and 1. This is what we have. Then the question now is, what is our r? So where we see r, we substitute m over 3, right? This is what we substitute. So to eliminate this 3, which is a denominator, we multiply this whole thing by 3. So when you multiply -1 by 3, we get -3. When we multiply 1 by 3, we get +3. This is what we get. So this means our series converges when m is between -3 and 3. I hope we are clear on that one. 2.3.2. It is given that 3 plus m squared over 2 plus m to the power 3 over 9 plus to infinity is equals to 27 over 7. Now we are given an extra information. What is that extra information? Is this value that is after an equal sign. So if you see the value that is after an equal sign, especially when you're dealing with sequence and series, this means that value represents the sum, meaning when all these terms are added together, we are getting 27 over 7. This is our sum. So since this is an infinite series, so this is our sum to infinity. Then the formula that we use for infinity is this one. Sum to infinity, we use this formula. That's why we have a divided by 1 minus r, where there is sum to infinity. Then we have a as 3, r as m over 3. This is what we have. Then we cross multiply. 3 times 7 is 21. Then 27 multiplied by this. This is what we have. 27 multiplied by 1 is 27. 27 multiplied by this, it will become 27 over 3, which is 9m. Then we make m the subject of the formula. So we take m to the other side and 21 to the other side. We change the signs. Then we divide both sides by 9. After dividing by both sides by 9, we get 2 over 3. So the value of m is 2 over 3. Thank you for joining in this session.